Hi guys, I'm John and you're watching Birds of Cebu, a channel dedicated to aviculture, avian behaviorism, and avian companionship. And today we are now at the sixth part of the How to Train a Bird series, and that means we're down to the last part. And for today, we're just gonna impart some learnings that I've had from the few years that I've done bird training. At the same time, learning from other trainers and also from my mentors and also from the community. So the first advice that I'd like to share is don't take shortcuts. Be patient. Trust the process. You see, I know that there may be certain things that are done efficiently and you can find ways to make things more effective and efficient. But when I say shortcuts, when you know something that is not good for your bird and you do it because you want to achieve an end goal, like for example, your bird is not coming to you, you think that getting the bird to fly off by throwing something at it would be the fastest way to do so. That's one shortcut that is an example of how you're not supposed to do things. Another shortcut for me, for example, is when I was too lazy to carry my bird over to the perch, it became a habit of having to throw my bird at the perch, and I realized through a friend of mine, Peggy, I realized that it didn't make sense to teach the bird to fly to the perch because they do that anyway. So I started to learn from my mistake of being lazy and finding shortcuts, finding an easy way of doing things, and started to realize that doing things has to have a direction. They have to have a purpose. Don't just do it because it feels easy. So don't take shortcuts, be patient. And I'd like to emphasize on trusting the process because we talk a lot about this in the free flight communities. And a funny thing was, I was looking at videos of when I was training Alpha almost 2 years ago. Alpha, my eclectus parrot, she's actually outdoor free flighted. She can fly outdoors and come back to me. And there was a time that I thought I could not make that happen. I was training her for over a year in indoor training, and she was really good indoors, but I wasn't ready to fly her outdoors. And truth be told, I almost gave up. But all those months of training, all those practices, all those getting exposed to the community eventually led me to free flying her outdoors. So looking back at my videos, I remember my state of mind that time was I really thought I couldn't get her to free flight outdoors. But because I trusted the process, I worked with the community and I gave her the commitment of my time to make it happen, then I was able to achieve free flying Alpha. And not just Alpha, both Alpha and Omega, my pair of eclectus parrots, they both can free flight outdoors. And this is because I really took the time and I was really patient and I trusted the process. The second tip that I'd like to offer for you trainers out there is get a mentor. I think that I wouldn't advance the way I did with my bird training if I didn't find people who are experienced or have been filled with wisdom from their own experiences. These are the people that really shaped me. I've got Brad Feliciano, who helped me with my understanding of animal body language. And I've also had trainers from different organizations, even from out of the country, free flyers like Peggy, who helped me also understand about macaw free flight. Also Dan from Bohol Free Flight Enthusiasts, he gave me a perspective of his own experiences, and also that leveled up with me and that helped me try to understand what was going on with me and Iggy. So find a mentor, not just because of their experiences, but also because of having an external perspective. As with anything in life, as with any learning experience, it helps if you get somebody outside yourself to give an observation of how they perceive what you're doing. Because sometimes one of the things that we might miss out in self-learning and development is the mindfulness of the things that we do. And an external perspective really helps you get a better picture of what you're doing. So get a mentor who can help you honestly and not just there to praise you for all the things that you're doing right, but to also help you get through your mistakes. The third tip that I'd like to offer is to join a community. I'm not just saying join a community for fun, although the fun part is what also encourages you to go on with the bird training. But the community keeps you making dialogues with other trainers so that you can also understand what's going on in their part. And I think in terms of morale and emotional support, the community is a big factor. Personally, I don't think I would have free-flighted Alpha and Omega if not for my little community here in Cebu, the Cebu Avian Trainers, because it was them who kept egging me on, just do it, trust the process, go out there, try free-flying them outdoors, you've already done all the trainings, you can do it. So I got that moral support from my community. And in case if anything wrong happens, for example, if you have a bird that flies out, somebody stole your bird, or anything that you need help with, you always go back to the community. The community is a large part of how you can make sure that your bird is offered all kinds of solutions if anything go wrong. So join a community, it totally helps. And the fourth tip that I'd like to offer for trainers is that you document what you're doing. Why document? I think that documentation is not just so that you can send it to your mentor or to share it to other communities. Documentation is also for yourself. A lot of people get really discouraged with their bird training thinking that, hey, I'm not advancing, or especially when they're comparing themselves with other bird trainers. They're like, oh, look at their bird. They're doing wonderfully. They're flying outdoors. They're doing really great. But if you do a documentation, you can see that there is progress. And no matter how little it may seem to you because you're comparing to other bird trainers, that progress is still change. And that is the kind of thing that you want to achieve in bird training. So document the process, document the progress, because when you look back, let's say a few months ago from when you started, you will see there's a huge difference and you're going to say, wow, I can't believe I made that happen. And that builds your confidence at the same time. Not just for building confidence, but also documentation. Documentation helps you look at what the things that you are doing wrong. Documentation helps you become the external perspective of yourself. When you get a better picture of how you're doing the training, you can pinpoint as an external observer the things that you're doing right and the things that you're doing wrong. And you can always look back if you were reading the body language of your bird properly. So documentation helps in a lot of ways. Then the fifth tip that I'd like to offer you guys from my own experience is don't be emotional. The problem with me as a trainer, and I also consider myself as a creative, is that I get too emotional in a lot of ways. I get emotional when I get discouraged. I get emotional when I don't achieve the things that I want to achieve, when there are expectations that I set for myself. I get emotional. And how does this affect the training? When I get emotional, I start looking for shortcuts. I start looking for ways around things because my emotions are controlling me. All I can think about is things are not working, things are not effective. But if I'm more level-headed and more logical, then I don't let the emotions get the best of me. Then I'm better able to continue the training with the objectives in place, with a mindset that is, I need to achieve this training without letting my emotions get the best of me. Another thing that you also have to watch out for with being emotional is that if you're very emotional, you let failure get the best of you. And that leads me to my last advice for all trainers out there. Do not be afraid to fail. Learn to fail. I guess growing up in my own household, I've always thought of learning as learning things to do right and never making mistakes. And that's something I guess is a cultural thing, coming from a Filipino Chinese family. And since I've been taught not to fail, I was always afraid to make mistakes, or along the way in training, I probably would reason out or rationalize my mistakes. So it was no longer failing, rather covering up my tracks to make it seem like I'm doing well. And this did not help in my overall development. But through my mentors, through my friends, and of course also through my own self-understanding, I realized that I needed to make mistakes. I needed to fail and learn from these failures. So without being emotional about it, when I was practical about it, I saw that these failures can actually lead better steps towards becoming a more effective trainer. And when I started seeing the things that I wasn't doing right with my other birds, and when I started doing it correctly, over the course of time, the training started to improve, whether it was changing the kind of treat used, the timing, the cues that I was giving in my own body language. These were things that I started to correct. And only by accepting my failures, only by accepting my mistakes, could I move forward to become a better trainer. And you yourself will also realize that when you start documenting these mistakes along the way and you build your own experience. No guide video out there can ever make you the perfect trainer. The only thing that will make you a better trainer is your own experiences that you build yourself through the years and through your connections and networks. And I hope you guys in the future will also have sharing of your successful experiences with bird training. I want to see the world a better place for avian companions out there because their trainers decided that their birds deserve more than just a life inside a cage. And I hope you guys can share this with all other trainers out there. And I hope you guys will also share your experiences in the comments below if you've had some developments with your own birds. I'm John, this is Birds at Sea, and see you in our future episodes. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.